So what's been the MO the last couple of days, and moving forward as you prepare for this game?
Well, get rested, to be honest with you. Rest Monday and Tuesday, just talk a little bit, get back in the gym, start to get their bodies moving a little. I trust, Mike Rayfelt and Bob Mangine they advise me a lot on what to do with our guys, and physically, conditioning-wise, rest recovery. I think that stuff's important, and I know they're a lot smarter than me about it. So I follow their lead on that stuff. They kind of gave me what they thought we needed to do yesterday. And then obviously you've got to get our guys' minds on Georgia State. So that started right away, making sure our guys get their minds on Georgia State and understand that Georgia State's won a game the last 2 times they've been to the tournament. And Ron Hunter's won games in the NCAA tournament. And 2 of the last 3 years, whoever represented the Sun Belt, their conference, has won a game in the NCAA tournament. So, Friday's our last game if we don't win. So that's all we're worried about, is trying to get better this week, become a better passing team, try to make sure that we can score 70 or more points in these games in the NCAA tournament.
You mentioned the other day a couple guys are banged up a little bit.
Not really, Gresh.
Not
just
really.
Tired. But everybody, no more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Play 3 games in 3 days. So.
Georgia State likes to shoot the 3.
Georgia State, well, a lot of people like to shoot the 3.
They can do it.
Yeah, a lot of people like to shoot the 3, but they make the 3. So I mean, their numbers are impressive, and they play small. But when you play small, there's advantages to it. And the advantage, usually people play small because they play shooters and they spread you out on offense. And then Simons is a great, he's a great player. He's a guy that would start on any team in our league. So they have him with the ball, and they have most of the time, and they have 3 elite shooters around him at all times. So they're a tough cover. It's not coach speak. I mean, they're a tough cover. They obviously, their numbers don't lie. What they give up maybe in rebounding, they gain in assist to turnover margin, and they're a scrap and strip and well coached defensive team. So whenever you can make the 3 the way they do and play small, but also be like 10th in the nation in field goal percentage defense, so then you're getting away with playing small because of the defense you're able to play. So and that's Coach Hunter's been around a long time. We've known each other forever. I mean, he's won wherever he's been. So whatever seed they are doesn't matter to me. I'm going to make sure it doesn't matter to our team.
Coach, matchup like this, and maybe down the road, Trayvon Scott.
There is no down the road.
Okay. Well, this matchup, Trayvon Scott on the defensive end.
No, I mean, I'm worried about Kyle Washington and Gary and everybody on the defensive end. And really for us, anybody that's not a guard in a game like this, it's going to be brought out to the 3-point line. So Gary and Kyle have their challenges out there. Obviously, Trey has gotten better at it, but you got to remember he redshirted and it's his 3rd year. Keith and Trevor are still, it takes a couple years to get a guy to where he can actually guard somebody. So perimeter defense is going to be a premium. Trey's gotten better at that. I'm not supposed to call him Trey anymore. I keep forgetting that. I'd request to be called Michael. That's what I told him. People still call me Nick. So, so yeah. I mean, he's gotten a lot better, and the better Trey gets, the better our team gets. I like when he's giving us some offense too, to be honest with you.
Their matchup zone, it's kind of a Ron creation. It doesn't fit like some of the other stuff. And how does he get them to be so effective at their size at that?
I think what any good defense takes things away from somebody. So when you play that because we're similar in what we try to do, you take away a team's ability to run their normal offense. Number one, Georgia State does that, and then number 2, It's not what you play, it's how you play it. So they're a high steal team because they got quick feet, quick hands, and they obviously teach stripping the ball from bigger players to combat their size. And then you know you have to trap and swarm bigger teams too. So it's just, you know, like I said, you know, he's been around a long time, longer than me. I'd like to add that he's older than me, and quite older than me. I'd like to add that as well. That's right, but I'm not gonna say anything on that. Never jinx. I have a daughter, so never jinx yourself talking about another guy having grandkids. But you know, in all seriousness, you know, the numbers don't lie. I believe in the defensive numbers. So whatever they play is how you play it. You know, so you got to scrap and fight on defense, and their players are doing it.
Mick, what impact has Jamar Johnson had for you guys since he's come aboard here with the program?
I think it's great for the guys to see that there's life after basketball, number one. He doesn't have to say a word. That here's a guy that was the #1 player in the country in high school, the 6th pick in the NBA draft, played in the NBA, has money, but yet his life didn't end when basketball ended, and he's still a very, you know, look at he's a young man still. So it's important that there's just that is huge for all of our players to see, because they don't, you know, they're young, they don't like they think 38 is grandfather age, you know. So for them to see somebody that's that's really starting his new life, you know, he's obviously getting his degree, but he wants to, you know, he's starting his coaching career. So when it reinforces what I try to tell them all the time: you're going to have a life after basketball. You got to prepare for it, and that you can be as good as him. And I tell him, like Kobe Bryant, he still wants to have a life after basketball. You know, he's embarked on a new part of his life. So, you know, just that alone is big, to have him around the guys. Now, second part is he's always been a very smart basketball player, and he understands the game. And he's somebody that can help reinforce what I'm teaching the guys from the perspective of a player. And that is always an advantage for a coach. That's all. They're always an advantage for him to be able to say to those guys, listen, you got to understand what he's trying to tell you. Here's how it's going. If you don't listen, it's going to matter. You're not ever going to be the player you want to be. And for them to hear that from a guy that was as good a player as he was is a huge advantage for any program. And then I just like being around him. He's a great guy. So, you know, DeMar's he's just a great guy. I don't get to see him that much because he's a full-time student. So, but Andy, like I said this on my radio show, he's the one guy on my staff that will actually pick up a tab. And he got me something at the store the other day, and he wouldn't let me pay him back. I almost passed out. Usually my guys give me receipts.
Your offense not shooting especially well here lately. Part of that's, I guess, tournament, but what do you need to do to get things back?
Nah, nothing.
Nothing?
Like I said that, you know, shooting, I've said the same thing a million times. Shooting comes and goes like your high school girlfriend, if perimeter shooting, and field goal percentage is a direct reflection of your passing. And it'll be a challenge because of the way Georgia State plays to make sure that we don't get caught standing around watching one guy with the ball, which is kind of what happened against Houston a little bit. And we won the game because Jaron Cumberland made the pass to Kyle Washington. Instead of taking a really hard shot, he hit the brakes, turned around and found Kyle at the three-point line. And that's just, we've talked about that already. And going forward, you know, that passing is the key to making each other look good and to scoring a lot of points. We've got to find the open man, and we've got to create shots for each other. Then that'll take care of your field goal percentage. But as far as just making wide open shots, like I said, it comes and goes.
Anything distinct or different in your mind about this team heading into the tournament than
My team or
yeah,
Georgia State?
your team going to the team? Going to the
I don't
tournament?
compare teams to last year. They pay other people for that. I don't want to take Mo Egger and Lance McAllister's job from them, or yours.
Do you put stock in the experience aspect at all for some of the guys that have been?
I think now, hopefully we talked all year this year about what we learned last year when we got knocked out of the tournament, and when the time comes around this year, what we need to be better at. So we're able to, you play a team that you can't let a team make 3 straight threes in the second half of the game. Hard, especially a team with the great firepower. And it's going to be hard to overcome it. We learned that against UCLA in the tournament last year. So I mean, but we've used that all year against us. So we've tried to prepare for this week all season. We talk about it all summer. So hopefully experience will help. You can sit here and say how we're experienced now, it's going to help. You can have the experience. I'll take some made shots and made free throws.
You talked about the bench last week and how they've been such a big impact this season. What do you hope or expect to get out of them on a night-to-night basis?
Well, you never know what you're going to get. I expect that Trey and Nasir and Kane Broome are going to give us good quality minutes because I don't really look at them as bench guys. The concern are your freshmen. It's much harder to play well late in the year than it is early in the year for Ellie, Trey, or Trevor, Ellie, and Keith. So if we can get something out of them, it'll be huge. That's really tried to allude to all year with, can those guys get to a point where they can give us 10 minutes and where they don't get beat on defense and maybe give us some assists or some baskets on the offensive end without getting beat on the defensive end. But the other 8 guys, they're experienced enough. They're all at least in their, Nas is only in his 2nd year, but Kane's obviously in his 4th and Trey's in his 3rd. So we got enough experience. But the other 3 guys, I think there's going to be, if we're going to make any type of run, or it could be Friday, where we get worried about staying alive, where the 3 freshmen may have to make a play for us. Or just give us 5 minutes, it could be 2 here, 2 there off the bench, because you never know with foul trouble. Thanks, guys.